All right, this is Tyus
And Tyus.
with Sublime UX, and we're looking at another site today, the Greenview um, landscaping site. We're going to make this very quick. This is a perfect example of a site that the quality of the work that these people do and the quality of their site don't really match up. This site, and it's hard to gauge from here, but this site, when you dig into it, they do some really excellent work. Like we looked at their project section, like if you look at it, they have this little project section with these tiny little cards. Again, that's fine. You click on them and you get these little images and you can go through them and see them. But it's hard to appreciate the level of work that these people do without actually going into the images. So I opened up individual images. But I mean, if you look at the work that they've done, and my assumption is that they put in this pool, they put in this stone work in here, they did the patio, they did the chairs, they did all these things. You look in here for this courtyard that they did. Like a lot of these images, like look at this. Like look at this grass strip around here through the driveway just to make it look nice. Like this level of work, you really need to focus it and you need to showcase it.
hmm
And this site doesn't really do it.
Yeah, it could really go unnoticed.
It really could go unnoticed. And we did some estimates based on this, some changes, basic changes that could be made and should be made. And we estimate that they're losing probably about $600,000 a year from lost revenue because their site needs to be updated and their site needs to be improved for conversion. But let's get into some of the quick things before we get into the actual design. Something that I have to point out as a developer: this site doesn't have any metadata. And I mean any well, they have a title, but they don't have a description. They don't have any of the schemas related to the type of work they do or their service areas or any of those things. You have to have that for search engine optimization. I won't dwell any longer on that, but it has to be done. Page speed insights, if you look at their site, they score 59. That's because they didn't bother to optimize the images. Somebody has to optimize the images, do all those things. Again, we'll get the housekeeping out of the way, but some of these behind the scene things are going to hurt your search engine optimization and getting found on Google. You got to ask yourself, what is the goal of this site?
hmm
And at least my assumption, Ties, is that the goal of this site is that you really want to inspire confidence of the person who's visiting. And more importantly, you want to help them realize their dreams of what their backyard they envision should be.
Correct. Yeah. That's how most websites work.
Yeah. And this really does not do that. And so we were talking about this and we were said, we need to do some simple things. One, I would get rid of the images. I would do
Mhm.
some nice video, maybe some drone footage of some of these.
Yeah. I think in these type of works, especially when the quality, you need to get some professional videography in there. You need long panning shots because you can't truly see how well these works are unless you get up close and get these cinematic shots of them.
Yeah, a nice cinematographer or would really could do some beautiful video of some of these things. We also talked about the headline and subheadline. This make your outdoors home is your URL. But again, your average user doesn't care about that.
Yeah, that
That's something.
branding's important.
Yeah, branding is important to you, the company,
hmm
not important to the person. So I would shrink this. And we also talked about changing potentially what they have as their, or just a minimal paragraph should actually be their headline. Um, Maybe something like elite landscape design and construction for Triad's finest homes. I don't know, something though that makes sure that people know they're in the right place, and not only are they in the right place, but you do a lot of high end work.
Because that's what their projects, their portfolio shows that they seem to want is that they do high end, very expensive work.
Yeah, and Taj, again, the CTA. You wanna talk about why that needs to change?
Sir, call to actions are your first. It's your pull in for the user, first time users to get in and buy in your work. Um, there are several ways to do it. Offer something valuable to them, or have like a special thing that you do. But coming as again as part of confidence and immersion in your site, you need to be specific with your buttons and your call to action so that they know what they're getting when they click. And start your project is generic. We don't know exactly. We know we're starting our project, but we don't know what they're sending us to when they click start your project.
Yeah. So what would you suggest? I mean, give me a suggestion. Start your project. What would you say?
Schedule with us, schedule consultation works, get your free estimate, call us, would
Talk to one of our design
talk to a
experts.
design expert.
Any
Just
of those things.
be specific and give someone something that you think is valuable to them.
Yeah. And then, of course, underneath your hero section, I would add social proof, testimonials, maybe awards you've won, any of those things. You could either do it right underneath the hero image or as the bottom part of the hero section. But something in here with the social proof is going to be very important, especially, well, to anybody. Nowadays, social proof, people want to make sure that they're getting what they think they're getting. All right, this who we are section, this is all very cramped. I mean, you have a lot of space here in with the text, but everything else feels very cramped. This should be expansive and beautiful and inspirational. And it's really not. It's extremely generic.
Yeah. It seems like the plan with this website is to make this like an artistic, very breathable space, and they kind of do that with their headline, but they need to do it with the expand that to the rest of the work. You can't just do it in part of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's all I need to say in that one. Absolutely. Then you get into this explore section. This is basically just the navigation bar, but in a whole section. I would get rid of this completely. And actually, their projects page, I'd probably put my projects in here instead of this explore section. Because people want to know, you said you bring beauty and functionality. The next thing to do would be to show them the beauty and functionality you bring.
Mm-hmm.
Someone should not have to click to another page to go see some of the beauty and functionality. That project section should go in here or have an abbreviated project section. So in other words, have your 4 or 5 best ones right here, and then you have a button that takes them to the project page where they could go see more projects and potentially more projects with, say, filterable buttons or something like, gardens we've done, stonework we've done, any of those type of things, so that they could then filter projects. Any of that would have been nice in here, instead of this explore. Testimonial section, again, this is fine. I would move my best or my favorite one up top. That would be fine. And then once you do all those things, then you can do your final CTA, which is like, are you ready to transform your outdoor space? Then you could go in for the sell here, right? But again, shouldn't be contact us. Again, reach out to one of our consultants, get your free estimate, get something of that nature that should be reflective of your main call to action. Should be right here, because this is your final call to action. Again, your credentials are down here. Those probably should go up more up the top about your badges. And then I would rework this footer section, mainly because it's very hard to read these. This gray on gray, I think, is too difficult to read.
Yep.
Tosh, anything else you want to say on this site?
Planning is important. If you want to send your work to us, so we can see it, maybe we can show you how to implement a site with more storytelling or more visionary effort involved.
Yeah. If you want to have a higher converting website, you need to be intentional in what you do. Now, there's no one way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And like Ty said, if you want us to look at your site and we can give you some free pointers on how you could be more intentional with your selling, or more intentional with your conversion of your website, let us know in the comments or DM us.
Peace.
Peace.